Welcome to Bible Stories Studio, where scriptures come alive. In today's episode, we explore the story of Joseph, betrayal, dreams, and destiny. Every life has moments of struggle that test our faith, but some stories shine brighter through the trials. This is the story of Joseph, a young man whose journey from favored son to prisoner, and then to leader of a nation, teaches us timeless lessons of faith, patience, and courage. Joseph was a 17-year-old son of Jacob, who later became Israel. He was the first of the two sons born to Jacob by Rachel, his beloved wife. He used to follow his brothers to tend their father's flocks, and he often reported their behaviors to their father. Jacob loved Joseph more than all his children. Genesis 37 verse 3 says, "Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a coat of many colors." This love caused jealousy among his brothers. The special care, love, and attention, coupled with precious gifts, showered on Joseph by Jacob, made his brother grow more angry. Their hatred and bitterness ran so deep that they couldn't relate with him peacefully. Joseph was also specially gifted. He was a dreamer, and in his innocence he would relay his dream to his brothers. In Genesis 37, verses 6 and 7, he dreamt that his brother's sheaves bowed down to his sheaf. Also in verses 9 to 11, the Bible says, "And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brethren, and said, Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me. For this they hated him the more, because all they could see was an arrogant, spoilt child who stole their father's heart and wanted to rule over them." Even his father also rebuked him, saying in Genesis 37 verses 10 to 11, "What kind of dream is this? Shall I and your mother and your brothers indeed bow down to you?" Then one day Jacob sent Joseph to check on his brothers in Shechem, where they grazed the flock. Neither Jacob nor Joseph imagined that would be a journey of no return. Upon finding his brothers, Joseph approached joyfully, beaming with smiles. But as they saw him afar, their envy flared, and there began a scheme that would change all their lives forever. Genesis 37 verses 19 to 20 records, "And they said one to another, Behold, here comes this dreamer. Come now, therefore, and let us slay him, and cast him into some pit, and we will say, Some evil beast has devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams." But Reuben, Jacob's first son, advised his brothers against shedding Joseph's blood. "They should throw him inside the pit," he said. The Bible records that Reuben planned to rescue him secretly. Immediately, Joseph got to his brothers. They grabbed him, stripped him of his multicolored coat, and threw him inside the pit. As they sat to eat, an Ishmaelites caravan was passing. Judah proposed to his brothers, "Why kill him? Let's sell him to the traders." And they all agreed to sell their brother, except for Reuben, who was not with them at the time. And so Joseph was cruelly sold by his brothers to the Ishmaelite traders for 20 shekels of silver. Terrified and desperate, he begged his brothers to show mercy, appealing to whatever shred of conscience remained in their hearts. But their hearts were hardened by bitterness. Torn from the land of his birth to a strange and unknown land, he faced fear and uncertainty. Yet, that was the beginning of a journey that would fulfill God's perfect plan. Joseph landed in Egypt, a slave, feeling confused, lost, and alone. How would his father be feeling now? What about his younger brother, Benjamin? Is this the end of his dreams? The brothers dipped Joseph's coat in goat's blood and brought it to Jacob. "We found this," they lied, letting grief and deceit cloud their hearts. Jacob's sorrow was immediate and deep. He tore his clothes, mourned, and wept for many days. convinced his beloved son was dead. Genesis 37 verse 35 says, "All his sons and daughters tried to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted." Meanwhile, in Egypt, the merchants sold Joseph to the local traders, who eventually traded with him until he found himself in the house of Potiphar, captain of Pharaoh's guard. Joseph was sold to Potiphar, captain of Pharaoh's guard. Though a slave, God was with him, and he gained favor in his master's eyes, showing his steadfast character and faith. God blessed Joseph, and everything he touched prospered. Because of Joseph, God blessed the household of Potiphar. Potiphar, noticing this, he entrusted Joseph with the management of his household. Proving faith and integrity bring God's favor. Joseph was handsome and well-built. Potiphar's wife set her eyes on him to tempt him. The Bible says, day after day she urged him, "Lie with me." But Joseph refused, saying in Genesis 39:9, "How can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?" One day she grabbed his garment, attempting to force him. Joseph fled, leaving the cloak behind. Rejected and angry, she falsely accused him. When Potiphar heard his wife's tale, his anger burned, and without trial or question, Joseph was adjudged guilty and thrown into the king's prison. Though he was condemned by lies, Joseph was not forgotten by God. In the darkness of the prison, God remained with Joseph, granting him favor before all, including the warden, who entrusted him with leadership over the prisoners. In the space of time, Pharaoh was angry with his cupbearer and baker. They were thrown into the same prison as Joseph. The captain placed them under Joseph's care, a divine setup for destiny. One night, both the cupbearer and the baker had disturbing dreams. Seeing their sadness, Joseph said in Genesis 48, "Interpretations belong to God. Tell them to me." Joseph interpreted their dreams as they had them. The cupbearer would be restored to his position in 3 days. In the same 3 days, the baker would be executed. Joseph pleaded with the cupbearer in Genesis 40:14. "Remember me when it is well with you, after 2 full years." Though forgotten by man, Joseph was remembered by God. Destiny was quietly drawing near. One night, Pharaoh had 2 terrifying dreams. He saw 7 healthy cows grazing by the Nile. Suddenly, 7 thin, sickly cows rose from the river and swallowed the healthy ones, yet they remained just as weak. Genesis 41:1-4 records the mystery. In the same dream, full, golden ears of grain appeared. Then 7 thin, scorched ears sprang up and devoured them. Pharaoh woke up troubled and afraid. In the morning, Pharaoh's spirit was troubled. He summoned Egypt's magicians and wise men, but none could interpret the dreams. At last, the cupbearer spoke. In Genesis 41:9-13, he confessed he had forgotten a Hebrew youth in prison, Joseph, who interpreted dreams with perfect accuracy. Pharaoh sent for Joseph immediately. Joseph appeared before Pharaoh clean-shaven and neatly dressed, and Pharaoh said, "I hear you can interpret dreams." But Joseph replied in Genesis 41:16, "It is not in me. God will give Pharaoh an answer of peace." And Joseph, through divine inspiration, accurately interpreted the Pharaoh's dreams. "Both dreams mean the same thing," he said. God repeated the dream twice for emphasis. Joseph declared in Genesis 41:25-28, "God has revealed what he is about to do." 7 years of abundance would sweep the land, followed by 7 years of devastating famine. The severity of the famine would erase the memory of the good years. Just as he interpreted the dreams, Joseph also proposed a strategy, a master plan that would save nations from starvation. He said, "Appoint wise overseers to store grain during the 7 good years." Then Pharaoh asked, "Can we find anyone like this man, one in whom is the Spirit of God?" Then he said to Joseph in Genesis 41:39-41, There is none as discerning and wise as you. You shall be over my house. And just, like that, Joseph became governor of Egypt. Pharaoh placed his signet ring on Joseph's hand, dressed him in fine linen. And Pharaoh declared in Genesis 41:39-44, And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, Forasmuch as God hath showed thee all this, there is none so discreet and wise as thou art. Thou shalt be over my house, and according unto thy word shall all my people be ruled. Only in the throne will I be greater than thou. 41. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, See, I have set thee over all the land of Egypt. 42. And Pharaoh took off his ring from his hand, and put it upon Joseph's hand, and arrayed him in vestures of fine linen, and put a gold chain about his neck. And he made him to ride in the second chariot which he had. And they cried before him, Bow the knee. And he made him ruler over all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh said unto Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without thee shall no man lift up his hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. And so the story of Joseph reminds us of a truth that echoes through all generations. What men meant for evil, God can turn for good. Betrayed, sold, forgotten, yet never abandoned. Every pit, every prison, every disappointment was a step towards purpose. Joseph's journey teaches us that delay is not denial, and the darkest moments often carry the seeds of destiny. When people fail you, God remains faithful. When doors close, He prepares greater ones. When life seems unfair, He is still writing the story. May Joseph's life inspire you to keep trusting, keep walking, and keep believing, because the God who lifted Joseph from the pit to the palace is still able to rewrite your story today. Thank you for watching Bible Story Studio. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe as we bring more timeless stories to life.